This is Terry Flint, and this is the 5th session of Let's Be Resilient Together. I want to start today reading a story that I read on CNN, written by Thomas Lake. It caught my eye, and I want to read it to you and then discuss what meaning it has for all of us. She lived in the silence above the clouds on a mountain in Colorado. "Go away," said a sign near her house. The old lady on the mountain, she called herself, or at least imagined that others did. Suzanne Senior was only 56, but she lived there half her life. Not running from anything, not hiding from anyone. She just liked it up there. The fresh air, the vast horizon, the way it felt to see a mountain lion in the morning light. Then the pandemic came, and solitude felt necessary. By Easter Sunday, she'd been alone for 38 consecutive days. This is a brief story about a small thing that happened next, about what it means to help each other and the American ideals that stand in our way. The mountain woman was not completely isolated. Her closest neighbor was nowhere in sight, but she lived in a planned community called Woodmore Mountain, which was about 60 homes on 1,100 acres. It's large enough to have its own discussion group on Nextdoor, the social networking site for neighborhoods. Sometime after the pandemic began, a resident named Naomi Kramer Overton sent out a message offering to pick up groceries for anyone who needed them. No one accepted her offer. But it was Easter Sunday, and Overton had watched a virtual sunrise service in which someone quoted the Epistle of James, reminding her that without works, your faith is dead. She decided to try again. Also, the offer stands for grocery/supply pickup. She wrote to her neighbors on Nextdoor. Do you need anything? It has been more than 5 weeks since Suzanne Senior's last real conversation with a real person without the aid of technology. She had briefly seen a person when she dropped off her dog in a veterinarian's parking lot. Even for a woman accustomed to solitude, this was a long time. Normally, she would have driven to the office in Colorado Springs 4 days a week, would have shopped for groceries and visited friends. But now she did her technical writing from home and survived on the boring food supply in her spacious freezer. The mountain woman was safe from the virus, but she found herself craving fresh produce. Still, she didn't want to impose. You don't want to impose. I don't want to impose. Americans are proud and fiercely independent. She had thought about what an imposition it would be if she got seriously ill and had to be rushed to the hospital. What peril the ambulance workers would face on the steep and icy roads. One more reason to not get sick. And what if she died up there alone? Even then, she hoped to impose as little as possible. She found the key to her safe deposit box, placed it next to a conspicuous sign in her house with instructions on where to find her wheel and how to relocate her dogs. No, she didn't need anything. Well, maybe. "Hi, Naomi," she wrote. "If when you go to the store, let me know. I would appreciate some fresh fruit, 2 pineapples and the rest tangerine types or oranges. That's only depending on road conditions. There's no urgency. I have cash available." Why don't we help others more? Why don't we ask for help more often? Maybe it's so hard to let ourselves be helped because we have our pride and, it's just so difficult. And even Suzanne said it was just humbling to ask for help. One of the things that I've noticed or discovered as I've counseled people in the last few weeks is how that this is finally giving us an opportunity to really assess whether we can do it alone, and maybe to bring down our pride, to reduce our pride and be a little bit more humble in recognizing that we need help. I think here where we live, is so much easier to help than to receive help. And I love this notion, and it's clear that to be resilient, we need relationships, but relationships are built on giving and receiving. And when I teach resilient classes, one of the questions I ask people is, who would you call at midnight or at 2 a.m. and you were in jail? If someone's name comes right to your mind, then that is a sign that you have a relationship with a friend you can count on. Now, if nobody's name came, that's a signal that maybe you want to develop some relationships where indeed you can count on others. One of the greatest science studies that's been done on relationships is the Harvard study of adult development. Now, they took 724 men and they followed their lives over 79 years. That's quite a study. And the most recent director of that study, Robert Waldinger, released the results a few years ago. And they sometimes pop up in the news, but I think they're very relevant to our world today. The study shows, again, year after year, that people who fare the best in being happy and who live longer are those who lean into relationships with families, friends, and with community. Isn't that fascinating? If you're looking for the fountain of youth, it's maybe not a potion, but it's a person who you can count on. He says in his studies, and he has a TED Talk that may be worth watching, that social connections are really good for us and that loneliness kills. People who lean into relationships with family, friends, community are physically healthier and live longer than those who are less connected. It's so amazing that having a friend to count on is so critical really to not only our mental health, our emotional health, but our physical health as well. And that people who are isolated more than they want to be find that they're less happy and that their health declines earlier in midlife. In fact, their brain functioning declines sooner and they live shorter lives than people who are not lonely. Interestingly enough, people who have someone they can count on have better memories. Isn't that fascinating? He says that when we have these people and we identify them, who I would call on, who could I get help from, that actually gives me a better memory over time, as well as the people that I'm in a relationship with. And so as we're worried about losing our thoughts or not having a good memory, building a better relationship may be some of the answer. I hope that in this time you've thought not only about who can I help, and that maybe you're delivering groceries or sewing masks or calling people to check on them, but that you're also willing to be honest and truthful when they call on you and they're asking, is there anything I can do for you? That you've learned now how to tell the truth. Tell them really how you're doing. Ask for a cheerful thought or an encouraging word or even another set of gloves or a new mask. Be willing to ask for help, to lean into that skill of asking help, and to make it as strong as being willing to give help. We need both in order to have good quality relationships. It's not what we have in life, but who we have in life that matters. Hopefully you've been building relationships as this goes on, or that you've discovered you don't have quite as many as you need, and that one of your resolves as you move forward is to strengthen the relationships you have or nourish those that are just in a seedling form, that they can grow and become stronger for your life. Good luck. Talk to you later.